Tonight, end of an era. Nation grieves as former Indian Prime Minister who shaped the country's political landscape passes away. Swift removal. Chaos erupts in South Korea's parliament as lawmakers vote to impeach acting President Han Duck-soo. Plans for Panama. Kevin Moreno Cabrera appointed ambassador to Panama by President-elect Trump. Vows to strengthen US-Panama ties. And Christmas cheer. Texas couple reunites with Mr. and Mrs. Claus 3 years after wedding surprise. All that and more as World News Tonight starts right now.
This is Derana, World News Tonight. Reporting from Colombo, here's Vinuth Warnasuriya.
Good evening, you're joining us on World News Tonight this Friday, the final bulletin for the week. And there are a lot of key updates to bring you this evening, and we begin in neighbouring India. India's former Prime Minister Mohan Singh, who served the country for 2 terms between 2004 and 2014, has died at the age of 92.
An economist turned politician, Singh, who also served as finance minister and the governor of the central bank, was considered the key figure in liberalising India's state-controlled economy. On Thursday, the incumbent Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, paid tribute, saying that India mourns the loss of one of its most distinguished leaders.
Israeli airstrikes have targeted the Iran-aligned Houthi movement in Yemen as well as hitting a media van in Gaza. Israel struck multiple targets in Yemen, including Sana'a International Airport, which had the head of the World Health Organization and other UN staff present at the time.
Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus of WHO said in a social media post that Yemen's Sana'a airport came under aerial bombardment when he and staff were about to board a plane, adding that one of his plane's crew members was injured. Israeli strikes on Thursday, which also hit Yemen's power stations and ports, killed at least 3 people and left dozens injured, including 2 who were killed at Sana'a airport. That's according to Houthi media Al Masirah. Also on Thursday, an Israeli airstrike in Gaza struck a vehicle marked as a media van, reportedly killing 5 journalists from Al-Quds Today, a TV channel affiliated to the Palestinian Islamic Jihad militant group. The Israeli military said they carried out a precise strike on a vehicle, which they said had an Islamic Jihad terrorist cell inside.
Meanwhile, 4 Azerbaijani sources say the ill-fated plane that crashed on Christmas Day, leaving dozens killed, was shot down by Russia. Well, a United States official also says early indications suggest a Russian anti-aircraft system may be what caused the crash.
With the investigation into the cause of the Azerbaijan Airlines J28243's crash on Christmas Day underway, a number of Azerbaijani government sources say the crash was caused by a Russian anti-aircraft system mistakenly shooting it down. Reuters on Thursday, citing multiple Azerbaijani government sources, said that while the initial cause of the crash was believed to be due to a collision with a flock of birds, a missile that was fired to shoot down a drone over Grozny, Russia, exploded near the passenger plane. The sources also say the plane's captain requested an emergency landing at a Russian airport, but was denied and instead instructed to cross the Caspian Sea to Aktau in western Kazakhstan. The Wall Street Journal, on the other hand, believes that the Russian military may have mistaken the passenger plane for a Ukrainian drone and shot it down. Kyiv claimed that it was likely shot down by a Russian air defense system based on holes in parts of the plane. Azerbaijani sources stressed that no one is claiming that the alleged actions were done on purpose, but they were just taking established facts into account. In response to the growing allegations that Russia was behind the crash, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said it's wrong to speculate before the investigation concludes. Meanwhile, with the investigation into the deadly crash taking shape, the Brazilian Air Force dispatched investigators to Kazakhstan. According to the Brazilian officials, 3 investigators were sent to provide technical support to the Kazakh authorities in the investigation process. The ill-fated passenger plane was a twin-engine jet manufactured by Embraer, a Brazilian multinational aerospace corporation. The crash killed 38 people on board the plane, but also saw 29 survivors.
Now we continue in South Korea with the latest on the impeachment trial. The first preparatory hearing for President Yoon Suk-yeol's impeachment trial happened this afternoon. Well, his team stated that he will send a legal representative to the session where judges will outline the main arguments for the impeachment over the president's martial law order.
South Korea has voted to impeach its acting president Han Duck-soo 2 weeks after parliament voted to impeach its president Yoon Suk-yeol. A total of 192 lawmakers voted for his impeachment, more than 151 voters needed for it to succeed. Chaos erupted in parliament as the vote was held. Lawmakers from Yoon and Han's ruling People Power Party PPP protested after National Assembly Speakers Woo Won-shik announced that only 151 votes would be needed of the passing of the impeachment bill. This meant that unlike the 200 votes required for Yoon's impeachment, no votes from ruling lawmakers would be needed this time for Han to be impeached in Parliament. Han will be suspended from his duties as soon as he officially notified by the Parliament.
Moving on to a short commercial break now. More world news coming right after this. On the road to the White House now, President-elect Trump picked Miami-Dade County Commissioner Kevin Marino Cabrera to serve as ambassador to Panama. Calling the Miami-Dade County Commissioner a fierce fighter, Trump said that he would advance the MAGA agenda to Central American country.
With just 25 days remaining until Donald Trump returns to the White House, the president-elect is focusing on the Panama Canal. On Christmas, Trump kicked off lengthy posts wishing a Merry Christmas to all, including, quote, the wonderful soldiers of China who are lovingly but illegally operating the Panama Canal. It comes as the incoming president has repeatedly threatened to regain control of the 48-mile waterway in Central America, a key component of U.S. freight transportation. Wednesday, Trump named his pick for U.S. ambassador to Panama, saying in a statement, I am pleased to announce that Kevin Marino Cabrera will serve as the United States ambassador to the Republic of Panama, a country that is ripping us off on the Panama Canal far beyond their wildest dream. Cabrera, a Florida county commissioner, worked for the Trump campaign in 2020. The 34-year-old was born in Miami to parents who fled Cuba. Trump boasted of Cabrera's qualifications on social media, writing, quote, few understand Latin American politics as well as Kevin. He'll do a fantastic job representing our nation's interests in Panama. Additionally, the president-elect has been making headlines over boasts of wanting to buy Greenland and suggesting Canada could become the 51st state. Some Democrats say such moves signal a turbulent administration ahead.
The Type 076 amphibious assault ship entered the water on Friday at a launch ceremony at a shipyard in Shanghai, the People's Liberation Army Navy said in a statement. Named Sichuan after southwestern Chinese province, the independently developed ship is hailed as a key asset for the advance of the Navy's transformation and enhancing its long-range operational capabilities, according to the statement. China, which already boasts the largest naval force in the world, is building carriers and large warships at a staggering pace as it seeks to project power far beyond its shores and catch up the military supremacy of the United States. In Mozambique, at least 6,000 inmates have escaped from a high-security prison in the capital Maputo amid post-election rioting and violence that has engulfed the country.
Mozambique's police general commander said that 33 of the prisoners have been killed and some 15 others injured during confrontations with security forces. The police say that the inmates snatched weapons from the prison wardens before freeing other prisoners. This came amid violent protests that started on Monday following the Constitutional Council's decision to confirm the ruling Frelimo party as the winner of the recent elections.
Japan Airlines said its systems had to return to normal and that no customer data was leaked after a cyber attack in the morning delayed some domestic and international flights.
Japan Airlines said on Thursday its systems were back to normal following a cyber attack in the morning that delayed some domestic and international flights. It was able to resume same-day ticket sales after briefly shutting down a router that was causing malfunctions, the airline said. According to the carrier, no customer information was leaked and it suffered no damage from computer viruses. ANA, Japan's other major carrier, saw no signs of an attack on its systems, a spokesperson said. Earlier this week, US carrier American Airlines grounded all flights for an hour, disrupting travel for thousands on Christmas Eve due to a technical glitch involving its network hardware.
We'll divert into Australia now. A southerly buster is moving along the parts of the North South Wales coast, bringing relief for heat-affected residents. The heat, which affected South Australia, Victoria and western parts of New South Wales yesterday, swept into Sydney and eastern parts of North South Wales today. Well, to get more updates on this, we have Other Than the World News special correspondent Shani Gunasekara joining us from Melbourne in Australia. Shani, what's the situation?
Communities and firefighters across Australia's second most populous state preparing for potentially devastating wildfires as a heat wave fanned by erratic winds presented the worst fire conditions in several years. With temperature reaching 37 degrees Celsius and with wind changes expected throughout the day, fire chiefs have starked warnings to rural communities to delay travel or leave their homes and to seek shelters for safety. Several fires are currently burning out of control across the state, and Victoria Deputy Premier Ben Carroll said the possibility of further fires in the coming days. Meanwhile, it is unclear whether homes have been lost to the fire, but there have been losses to farming infrastructure, livestock and sheds. Over to you.
Thank you, and that was Other Than the World News special correspondent Shani Gunasekara joining us from Melbourne in Australia. Thank you very much. Well, let's go in for a short commercial break. More world news coming right after this. Stay tuned. Welcome back. It's a one-way get a glimpse at a mysterious place. Well, a Starbucks has opened in Gimpo-si, South Korea. The city borders North Korea, which is notoriously closed off to the rest of the world. Well, the cafe is located in an eco park near the demilitarized zone, and the observatory gives visitors a clear view of the hermit nation, even without any type of magnifying lens.
It's one way to get a glimpse at a mysterious place. A Starbucks has opened in Gimpo-si, South Korea. The city borders North Korea, which is notoriously closed off to the rest of the world. The cafe is located in an eco-park near the demilitarized zone, and the observatory gives visitors a clear view of the hermit nation, even without any type of magnifying lens. One can see farms, landscapes, military activity, and North Koreans going about their daily lives. North and South Korea do not have a peace treaty, even though the war between them ended in 1953. Crossing the border between the two countries is a crime. Despite the tension between nations, customers have reportedly said the observatory is quite peaceful. And for many, this is as close as they're going to get to seeing North Korea with their own eyes.
Well, a Texas couple's Christmas wedding took an unexpected turn when Mr. and Mrs. Claus showed up unannounced. The bride, Natasha Mark, and casually mentioned her Christmas-themed wedding to the couple dressed as Santa and Mr. Claus, never expecting them to attend. Determined to thank them, Natasha and her husband Patrick launched a 3-year search. Their efforts were finally rewarded when a friend of Claus's helped reunite the couples, turning a magical wedding moment into an unforgettable holiday story.
It's a festive Christmas-themed wedding, complete with reindeer, a sleigh.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Even the Grinch making mischief with the flower girl. The only thing missing? Santa and Mrs. Claus. But behold, look who crashes the wedding in Dallas. The first couple of Christmas, Mr. and Mrs. Claus, holding babies and posing for photos with the wedding guests. Then, suddenly, as quickly as they arrived,
they left just magically, I guess, like Santa does. We didn't know how to get in touch with them.
That's right, Mr. and Mrs. Claus vanished, but not through the chimney. Natasha and Patrick Mock wanted to thank the couple and launched an all-out search, even reaching out to the local news station. As luck would have it, a friend of Mr. and Mrs. Claus was watching.
I'm just really excited.
And 3 3 years later, they're reuniting. Natasha and Patrick wait on the porch as they arrive. Not in a sleigh, but a pickup truck.
We get both of you Who has Santa crash their wedding? I mean...
Wedding crashers sharing the magic of Christmas.
Well, that wraps up our final bulletin of world news for the week. We'll see you again on Monday with more updates across the globe. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.